you're born in Iran, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was born there during the Iranian-Iraq War, and that was actually some of my first memories. Actually,
Wow.
yeah, it's very heavy to talk about, but
Well, go for it.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm like,
If you want. If you want.
But yeah, I mean, that's why I don't really like fireworks, and
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
war is a really traumatic thing,
Yes.
and that's another reason why I empathize so much with the people in Gaza, is because it's not something just on a screen to me. Like as a child, had to experience it, and it's a terrifying thing to have to hide from bombs, and what their experience is on another level in terms of being also starved and denied medical treatment and whatnot. But yeah, my family immigrated here when I was really young, and I moved around a lot, but I grew up predominantly, I would say, in Canoga Park in North Hollywood and Whittier. I was actually living in Canoga Park during the Northridge earthquake, which
wow.
is another experience of itself. And then my parents separated, but then I was raised by my mom, and she was really hardworking, and as a single immigrant mother, obviously dealt with a lot of issues with like discrimination and lack of resources, and but she was such a fighter. And even I, as a child, was dealing with a lot of discrimination as an immigrant kid, and she would always kind of fight for me as well. And I remember being in court with her, sitting outside in the hallway while she was fighting her employer for wages, fighting wage theft. And I also faced discrimination at a high school, and she was like, I'm going to write the governor. And to hear your mom say that is like so empowering, I think, as a kid. But at the same time, you're like, oh, I don't want to start a new like, you're just trying to fit in and whatnot. Yeah. But I mean,
Mom, don't sue the governor.
but it was, I think that was inspiring to me, saying like, well, if there's injustice, we should fight it. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't just roll over and just placate. It's about fighting for your rights and fighting for something better. And I think that's inspired me to be an activist eventually. I've been an anti-war activist since I was for decades, 25 years, I would say, since the Iraq War was happening. I was involved with what was a group called Not in Our Name at that time, as well as a lot of other organizations. That's where I actually saw also the rise in surveillance under Bush. Yeah. And at that time, Palantir had just started. And we're seeing, this progression now of it invading all parts of our life right now, and in terms of going after protesters, going after immigrants, and now it's even affecting the price of our goods in terms of the data that they're using. So if people don't care, if you're not a protester, or if you're not an immigrant and you're like, well, I'm not as concerned about surveillance, well, you have a pocketbook. All of the legal data they're gathering is all going to these private entities, right? Yeah. And their perspective is not helping us. Obviously, it's about taking our jobs and getting as much money as they can out of us. The same investors with flock cameras and Palantir, they're all kind of like in the same stream. We have a city, and this is happening around the country, that's putting up these private surveillance cameras around our city. And to a point where some cities have even voted to take them down, and they've put them up illegally again. Like, we don't know how expansive this data could be used, especially when you're seeing these billionaires amassing all of these, all the media companies, right? Yeah. And then AI is being pushed to data centers. It feels like the inequity is just being driven up. If we have unions taking more of a stand against these policies, and of course we need to also unionize more of our workplaces, we could try to fight on multiple fronts as well. But I think a lot of people don't know that this is happening, and that's because the city of LA is doing a backroom way of using private nonprofit police foundations, dark money, essentially donating all of the technology behind the surveillance cameras. One thing is, like, the city attorney approves all these contracts, and also the city attorney advises all these commissions and represents the police in litigation. And so that's an opportunity to basically say no to a lot of these things. So the city attorney has like a lot more power, I feel like, than a lot of people realize in that sense, because they review the contracts. And I also like worked in like international human rights work. That's something I would want to bring to the city attorney's office too, because we shouldn't have any contracts with any countries that are involved in the genocide.